go. Patchy the Angry Queer has just posted a video. Go check it out.
Oh, I'm live on Twitch already? Perfect. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Serious Talk. Those of you who are familiar with the show know exactly what this is probably going to be about. Oh shit, it's listing it as racist pedophile Boy Scout cult. Why is it doing that?
Huh. That's weird.
I changed the name. I'm gonna have to fix that.
Yeah, you might have the same co-host, but it doesn't mean we're talking about the same thing. We are
Yep.
talking about pedophile stuff.
Let's, God, I hate YouTube's streaming system. They changed it so much. Okay, so while I work on getting all of this fixed, today we're going to be talking about a recent legislation. I got this request from my former coworker and longtime friend Ruza. Hi, Ruza. Basically, as of recent, there has been an uptick in pedophile allyship all over the world. And in Victoria, which according to the article is in Canada?
I thought it was Australia.
Is it Australia?
I think it's Australia.
I
remember specifically seeing it.
There is a place in Canada called Victoria. Oh, no, it is Australia because some of the victims of this were from Melbourne. Yep. Okay, in Victoria, Australia, a new law was passed to prevent sexual assault survivors from speaking out about their abuse. And Ruza asked me to do a call about this. So we're going to read the article, which I will link in the description. Let me just... Boop!
I had to put on glasses.
Like a light switch. It's a neat little Mormon trick. Turn it off like a light switch.
Gone. Good for you.
Yeah, no, I usually hate that musical, but in this case I think it would be pertinent. Yeah. Let's get into the article before the rum kicks in, shall we? I meant my rum. You think I'm doing this sober?
No.
Oh, my audio's turned on. Let's fix that. Major victory for pedophiles as baffling law is passed that could see rape and sexual assault victims thrown into jail for just telling their stories. Victorian sexual assault survivors could face prison time for telling their stories. A law change in February prevents them from using their real names publicly. The law is retrospective and applies when an offender has been found guilty. Breaches can result in up to 4 months in prison or fines exceeding $3,000. A hashtag Let Us Speak campaign has been launched as victims fight for law reform. Do you know more? Contact Tia Smith at mailonline.com. I believe that is, or Tita Smith. That's the author for the Daily Mail Australia. Now, Daily Mail isn't always the most reputable source, but I did want to cover it since it seems they provide citations. So let's go further in. Victorian sexual assault survivors could be jailed up to 4 months or face fines exceeding $3,000 for telling their stories and using their real names. The February prohibiting victims from identifying themselves publicly if their attacker has been...
Especially if it's a threat who didn't get put in jail, so, you know, there are some weird implications about this where it's just like, you can't talk about you're the person who did this, and the person who did this can't be reported on because the person who actually had it done to them, the victim, could be implicated in the report and then caught in the legal crossfire of this dumbass law.
That's... I hope I'm not... I hope you and I aren't the only ones who see how absolutely obnoxious this is. Especially with the perpetuation of rape culture that comes with it. Because the further victimization of survivors through, like, insults and harassment is a huge part of why so many victims just refuse to come forward. So this is just going to discourage more people from reporting rapes, and it will make it look like sexual assaults have decreased in frequency because less people will report their sexual assaults, because now it's illegal to tell your story. You're not allowed to be fucking interviewed on the news about what happened. You're not allowed to, like, make a fucking tweet about what happened now. I don't understand why Australian governments would think that this was okay. It's gotta be unconstitutional. Did someone hop in and out of call?
Yeah, it was Chloe.
I guess Chloe didn't realize that we were streaming.
Nope. I, texted them and was like, hey, we're streaming right now, and they were like, oops, thanks for letting me know.
Lol. I genuinely don't understand what the point, like, who this is trying to protect.
Pedophiles.
Oh, someone in the Twitch chat, Azrael Dreamer 1, is commenting about the Cuties series. The Cuties series is not actually a sexualized, like, fiction series about kids. It's a Sundance Award-winning documentary discussing the hypersexualization of children of color in France.
The issue is Netflix tried to frame it as something that it entirely wasn't. If you actually go and look up the original cover art and promotional images for it, it's entirely different, and since the documentary far more fairly.
Yeah, I recently watched the series, and it's very well done. And I'm going to be publishing a review sometime next week, hopefully. Things have been really busy lately with us clearing out the garage and me dealing with some personal and family drama, so I haven't been as productive as I'd like to be. But I will hopefully be releasing a review on Cuties soon and a discussion. But in the review, I am going to be referring to it in its original French, La Mignonce. Oh, someone in the YouTube chat. Are you guys still talking about Sly Fox? Because he was in our server. Reach out to me in the Discord server that I currently run, the McFucker Mansion. Reach out to me through there, and I'd be happy to talk with you if you have information on Sly Fox. Because I know he's still at large. Have you heard about the site called Rapey? I don't know if I want to know what that is. Let's open an incognito tab. Ooh.
What is it?
It's an entire website dedicated to not like rape fetishization, but fantasizing about raping real people.
Oh, great.
Discussing like murderers and rapists. There's an entire board dedicated to talking about how Dylan Roof's sister is attractive. Oh, gee, yeah, no, I'm gonna have to cover this, because oh, Jesus. Oh, sweet mother of fuck.
Good lord. Holy shit, what's in there?
There's a whole, like, flare tag dedicated to pedophiles. This is disturbing. I'm just gonna pass this to some friends later with a bigger account who could bring a platform to this, but holy shit, I'm gonna have to talk to some people. That's messed up.
Thanks for the information.
Thank you to Haster King for the information. I will definitely look into this. Alright, let's go back into the article, shall we? The only way in Victoria for victims to identify themselves and tell their stories is to obtain a court order, which is not only time-consuming, but would cost more than $10,000 in legal fees. So it's actually less expensive to break the law than it is to follow it. That's disgusting.
Yes, but you see, if you break the law, then you will be immediately vilified.
The legislation comes as a result of the Victorian government making a series of changes to fix another problem with the law. Dr. Rachel Bergen, lecturer in the Swinburne Law School, described the change in the law as a major victory for convicted pedophiles and rapists. She said thousands of survivors will now find they cannot tell their stories. Not only can victims no longer use their real names, they cannot provide any identifying features, such as photos and publications, such as memoirs and autobiographies, unless they get a court order. There is no way that I would just have $10,000 sitting around to pay to do this. I'd be taking money away from my family. Maggie, an anonymous adult survivor of child rape, told news.com. So they're actually going to charge you $10,000 in Australia to tell your story about, like, how you were assaulted and what you survived.
Well, that's the thing. It's $10,000 to get the court order. To try to get the court order. The court could deny your request for a court order.
That's even worse.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, someone in the YouTube chat is asking, who is Sly Fox? Never heard of him. I did a whole series of videos. His full name is, Glenn Locke III, I believe is how it's pronounced. It's been a while since I've spoken about him. He was found to have groomed and ERP'd or erotic roleplayed with 4 different minors, threatened me with sexual assault, stalked a member of the Has-Been Hotel community named Monstrous for a considerable amount of time. What else is there? Oh, he produced and distributed erotica of Dora the Explorer and Tales from Sonic the Hedgehog as a means of grooming minors. He was very prolific. I covered him, I think, about 3 or 4 times. It's an old case. I already outed him to his parents and released all of his information, which, by the way, doxing is legal in California. I found that out very recently.
So yeah, Chai is one of the very, 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 very many people you don't want to have as an enemy. Especially if you're a bad person.
Yeah. We should probably stay focused on the topic at hand. Let's go back to the article, shall we? Sexual assault survivors are now fighting for their rights to share their stories with the hashtag Let Us Speak campaign launched on Wednesday. The campaign, which is a collaboration between rape and sexual assault research and advocacy, Rasara, Mark Lawyers, End Rape on Campus Australia, and News.com Australia, is calling on the government to reform the law. Melbourne mother Maggie 44 years of age, was sexually assaulted from age 8 by her father, who also sexually abused Maggie's older stepsister, Kate. And both names were changed here for privacy and adherence to Australia law. When Maggie was 17, her father was arrested and charged with rape and gross indecency, as well as multiple accounts of bestiality, after Kate reported her abuse to police. May 1997, 4 days before the trial was set to begin, he shot Kate dead at work after tracking her down using a private investigator. He was sent to prison the following year after pleading guilty to murder in exchange for the sexual offenses being dropped. Australia.
The thing is, hearing that, it's like, yes, fuck you, Australia, for letting it do that, but I swear, if this was in America, the same shit would have happened.
The same shit does happen frequently.
Yeah.
Remember that pedophile who molested an 8-year-old boy and was released on bail? Or not released on bail, he was found not guilty, so the father just killed him.
Yep.
Some pedos tried to cancel me over sharing a video of a pedophile being shot in the face. That was... Hoo boy.
Fuck pedophiles.
Fuck pedophiles.
And
Jeremy, if you...
Abundantly clear.
Understood. Jeremy Legend 23, if Tumblr is the only place you can reach me, feel free to reach me there. Warning, my Tumblr is not safe for work. No one under 18 should follow me on Tumblr, so if you are a minor, do not look up my Tumblr. That is illegal. Do not look at, no. Go, shoo. Oh, would you look at that? Anthony is live right now. I'll have to watch that later. Back to the article. With his parole eligibility date looming, Maggie decided to come forward, resulting in her father receiving a 9-year jail sentence for multiple counts of incest and rape against her. Wait. So this man, who murdered his own daughter after molesting her for years, only got his release date pushed forward, like away, because the other daughter he abused came forward.
And then, in March this year, the Supreme Court appeal slashed his sentence for the crimes against Maggie and ruled he could serve them concurrently with his murder sentence, leaving him eligible for parole in June 2020.
June 2022. But that's worse.
Yeah. So much worse.
That is legitimately worse. My sister was murdered for trying to tell her story, and now I'm stopped from telling mine. He has all the power again. It has to change. Victorian Attorney General Jill Hennessy has written to Maggie and other members of the Let Us Speak campaign to say she is very sorry to hear of their experiences. She has requested the Department of Justice and Community Safety look into the cases. A GoFundMe page has been set to cover the court costs of survivors battling to overturn the gag law. Similar gag laws were overturned in the Northern Territory and Tasmania earlier this year as a result of the Let Us Speak campaign. However, they deferred to the Victorian legislation as they were outdated pre-existing policies. Okay, so full summary. The Victoria region of Australia has currently made it illegal for survivors of sexual assault to come forward about what they experienced using their real names, unless they want to file for a court order and pay $10,000 just for the opportunity to talk about what they were put through. In addition, any news network that publishes a story about sexual assault without all names censored or changed could face $8,000. in fees, and the journalists who publish it could face prison time. I can't be the only one who sees how disgusting this is, right? There is absolutely no reason for this law to exist. Dripsley, if I see you in my notifications, I will block you. I don't fucking play. But you definitely should get off this stream if you are a minor, because this is a very serious topic. Sexual assault and pedophilia is not, like, there's a reason why this channel is listed as not for minors. If you are a minor and you're watching my content, like, I understand why you're here. You want to seek information in case something like this happens to you, and that's fair. And I'm not judging you. But also, like, I need the kids who watch my content to understand that this subject matter is incredibly dark. Zeba Stackian asks, what the hell is freaking wrong with our legal system? It's all broken and frustrating. Zakia, this is happening in Australia. Are you an Australia resident? Pastel Opal writes, this makes me feel so fucking hopeless. Do not do not let these predators and their enablers take your spirit from you. Do not let them take your rage from you. This is a terrifying thing to experience, but it is also important for us to stay focused and aware of what is happening and remain critical. If we lose faith, we lose our why. Our why is, the reason behind our activism. And hope for a better future is the only way that we can retain our why. That is why we need to combat this. That is why the Let Us Speak campaign is important. That is why advocacy in general is important for sexual assault survivors.
And I went onto Twitter and looked up, like, the Let Us Speak hashtag, and it's actually doing fairly well. That, and there's the GoFundMe for the Let Us Speak movement that's almost at its 60K goal right now.
Wonderful. Oh, I found the GoFundMe too. I'm going to put that in the description, and let's put it up on screen. I'm going to take a screenshot of the fundraiser as it is. Oh, a donation just happened while we were streaming. That's so wonderful. Let's grab that link. Let's go to the edit settings. I'm so glad that Streamlabs let me stream across multiple platforms now. Because now I can see what's happening both on YouTube and on Twitch. I have tried to get my abuser in jail for months, almost a year. I know this isn't where I'm from, but the fact that other humans don't feel empathy for us is so fucked. It absolutely is, and I'm a sexual assault survivor too. So is Ruby. We both know exactly what you're feeling, Opal.
Like, I lost my chance to talk out about the person who abused me, but if I hadn't, and this had just been slapped over my head, I can't imagine.
Oh, Ruby, you're apparently a little bit quiet. Let me boost your mic. Can you talk now for the people?
Why, hello there.
Oh, there you go. How's that, everybody? The fact that this legislation exists doesn't surprise me. There are laws in the United States, across multiple states, that currently make it illegal for women to miscarry because attorneys can present that as them getting an abortion. Oh, a woman who miscarried can be falsely accused of getting an abortion and be imprisoned.
We live in a world where they protect the people who did something wrong and then vilify the people who are the victims.
A lot of people will say that rape culture doesn't exist, but it very much does. And it's unfortunate that people are in such denial about the further victimization of assault survivors. And what's worse is people in Australia are heavily normalized to that thought process. I used to have a friend from Australia. I'll call him Shane for privacy's sake, because I don't want to out him. But early on in our friendship, we had a very intense argument about whether or not women and non-binary AFABs had the right to feel afraid of sexual assault. Because because of how Australian culture teaches these young men, he believed that women being afraid of being harmed by men was self-victimization, and he didn't understand that fear is how we protect ourselves, and that just because you're not going to rape me doesn't mean that other people won't, and that my self-preservation is not justified. And it took me a long time of arguing and explaining to him the difference between paranoia and vigilance for him to get that. And unfortunately, this attitude is very prevalent in Australia. I've seen it firsthand that their rape culture isn't too different from America's.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on all this, Ruby?
I can only speak from my personal experiences coming from somebody who lived in Texas in America. Sexual assault was not treated even remotely seriously. I was sexually assaulted as a kid. I was basically treated like I was being needy by talking about it and being more of an issue for my family than actually in need of support. The only place I received any support was at school from a few of my classmates who didn't even really understand what had happened. A lot of my friends who were there when it happened distanced themselves from me, and at some points even just told me that they straight up weren't my friend anymore because of what had happened. Basically, everybody started blaming me for the incident instead of actually the person who had done it.
I'm sorry that you had to have experiences like that, Ruby. Hopefully you find yourself in a better and more comfortable space now.
Well, I'm with you, so it's gotta be a little better.
That's very sweet of you. Someone in chat, Hunter the Mutt says, why are men like this? Let's be clear, men are not the only people capable of sexual assault. I was molested by a cis woman. There are plenty of women and non-binary people and intersex people and agender people on this planet that are capable of sexual assault. Men are not the only ones who rape. Just because they're a higher statistic does not mean they're the only statistic. That's another thing. You and I have both been assaulted by both men and women.
Yep.
Do you ever feel like people only take the men who abused us seriously?
They basically pay the women absolutely no mind and give only the men the barest minimum to make them seem like a reasonable person.
Are y'all on YouTube watching the stream? Is there still audio coming through? Okay, yeah, no, the stream is still going. It looks
A few weeks back and me getting really pissed off.
She was the one who tried to steal my content off of OnlyFans and then sell it without my consent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she tried to violate copyright law. An individual by the username of... Let's have a look. Who was it? Gerald Peterson, who is a member of the anti-pedophile community or the pedobuster community, recently released a document explaining that Lucy is just a straight-up pedophile. That she sexually harassed minors, that she has been engaging in misconduct, and that she apparently doxed someone, which is interesting since she was accusing me of doxing and harassment and being a pedophile when she was committing these acts herself.
Projecting much?
Absolutely projecting. I also found out through this that the account that's been following me, the Baby Neko, like at the Baby Neko on Twitter, was also her account. So someone who I had been engaging with because I had no idea who it was, turned out to be a predator who'd been harassing me for a significantly long amount of time.
Always pleasant.
Jiramenshi, I told you to DM me about Sly Fox on my Discord or on my Tumblr. I would appreciate if you followed instructions. Thank you. I apologize to the people watching the YouTube stream about the lagging. I wish I could control that, but I can't. I have very bad internet. So unfortunately, I cannot fix that. I would very much love to fix that for all of you, but I can't. And I'm sorry. My Discord is publicly available through my community server. I never accused you of cussing, Jiramenshi. You don't have to keep saying that. It looks like YouTube itself might be glitching because I'm having trouble approving comments in the stream chat.
Weird.
I'm going to... Dripsley, you are a child! Fucking leave! Leave, child! I will kick you! I'm putting you in timeout. I told you to go. I'm putting you in timeout. No children in the server. No. Well, there are children in my Discord server, but they are in a section that is entirely dedicated to them not being able to see adult things. Protect the kids at all. Well, I mean, the staff can talk to them, but they're admin staff, so.
Yeah. I think the age of consent's fine at 18.
Not the Mint F mansion, McFucker, like McDonald's, but instead of Donald, it's Fucker. McFucker Mansion. Let me get a goddamn diddly darn mother frickin' link. Yes. I think we've said all that we can really say about this situation is that it's fucked.
Yeah, shit's fucked. Everything's awful. We regret to inform you of this information.
I regret to inform you that Australia apparently fucking sucks. But then again, the world as a whole sucks. So,
Yeah.
I'm going to put in the description, or not in the description, in the chat, a link to the Twitter hashtag talking about all of this information if you guys want to learn more. There is a link to the article and the GoFundMe in the description of the YouTube video. And with that, thank you for being on the show, even though I talked a lot more than you did, Ruby.
It's what I do. I co-host. You host.
I appreciate you sharing your story and talking about what you have survived and opening up to not just me, but the community, and for helping me give a platform to this situation.
Of course.
And
Hello.